Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagadguru Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to the Purva Acharyas. I pay my obeisances to the 12 Alvars. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi. And I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I welcome all of you here at the Sri Narayan Dham, physically in Durban, South Africa. I welcome those that's watching this discourse locally, nationally, and internationally. And I welcome in advance those that's going to be watching this discourse when it is posted on YouTube and the various groups around the world. Today is day 2 of the Sri Krishna Janmashtami week, or Gita week. And Lord Sri Krishna Himself welcomes all of you to the Sri Narayan Dham. I started discoursing and having satsangs from the 10th of October 2013. I started having satsangs at this ashram from the 13th of March 2018, when it was a dilapidated building and a forest. I had satsangs in 4 different halls surrounding Durban. Every function, be it Ram Naumi, Sri Krishna Janmashtami, Navaratri, Guruji's birthday, any function that we had from our calendar, from day 1 to date, the Lord has always presented Himself. The Lord has always presented Himself in every satsang. Does not matter where I had it. And you all are fortunate that now the Lord has taken permanent residence in an abode of His own. You all are fortunate to be in the presence of the Lord. It's just that you all don't have eyes to see. But you can feel Him. He can nurture you and He can eradicate your misery. From my side as a guru, I cannot give you more than this. And from the millions of gurus around the world, very few can declare what I have declared to you. Everything is provided for you, from parking to meals to seats. In other ashrams around the world, you sit on the floor. You have beautiful seating here with seat covers. Your merits have to be really, really high. I cannot give you any more than what I am giving you now on the material side. On the spiritual side, my duty is to give you absolute information. In order to eradicate confusion, I have to point out information that is not absolute. If I don't, then you may not know that the information that is out there cannot be used with the information that I give you. So yesterday, I declared that the writings of Swami Prabhupada in all his books, whereby he rejects Lord Sri Narayan as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is false. Is false. And I have to declare it because there can only be one truth. There can be only one truth. And it is easy to declare false information thanks to the information age. This is the age of information via technology. You only need a guru to awaken your soul. Information is at your fingertips. Information is at your fingertips. And once again I go to Sri Vishwadhar Ramanuj Das. And he is the greatest user of technology. And I tested him profusely. I've tested him profusely. So last year, when COVID-19 introduced itself to us, there was a whole lot of ways to make money. And I sent Mr. Vishwadhar Ramanuj Das on a wild goose chase because I wanted to see how expert he is on retrieving information. And Sri Vishwadhar Ramanuj Das knew more than the companies that were manufacturing these PPE kits. He knew more than the actual companies that were manufacturing these PPE kits. And we were talking in the millions. Inspired by the millions, Vishwadhar Ramanuj Das cross-sectioned technology. He picked up every information. If there was a buyer and a seller, he knew more than the buyer, he knew more than the seller. He had every transaction. I don't know if this boy slept in this 1 or 2 months. Because every day 10 million, 15 million was knocking on Vishwadhar's door. And he used technology because the information that he got could have only come from technology. I wish now, as the chairperson of the Acharya Sham Ramanuj Foundation, he uses technology with the same zest that he used for a few millions. Because if we use technology with the same zest, then he will find out that everything I am saying is the absolute truth. So this is the Gita week. And there are hundreds of translations of the Bhagavad Gita. There are hundreds of translations of the Bhagavad Gita. If the Lord is absolute, eternal knowledge is absolute, then you only need one understanding of the Bhagavad Gita. And that one understanding must only come from the Lord Himself. No guru has the capacity to comment on the Lord's law. No guru has the capacity to comment or analyze what the Lord has said. Otherwise, the Lord loses His absoluteness. Jessica, this is not like the material world, where a politician goes and he gives the State of the Nation address, and then after the State of the Nation address, you get a panelist of experts. They call themselves analyst / Sri Ramanuj Das. God has no analyst. God has no analyst. You have no right to analyze the Absolute. Only the Absolute can analyze the Absolute. So the Bhagavad Gita that millions have been sold around the world by the various translations. If it is not the Lord's actual spoken word, then those Bhagavad Gitas must be rejected as false. Must be rejected as false. We are stating this at the Sri Narayan Dham in the second day of the Gita week. In the second day of the Gita week, we are saying, don't read fake Bhagavad Gitas. If you read fake Bhagavad Gitas, you're going to get fake results. Pramila?
How would we know which is a fake one?
Well, the Guru is going to tell you today. And not only you, the Guru is declaring it currently to the world. The Guru is declaring it currently to the world. Who wrote the Bhagavad Gita? Who compiled the Bhagavad Gita? Only what Veda Vyas stated in the Bhagavad Gita is absolute. Is absolute. The Bhagavad Gita is the cream of the Upanishads. And the Upanishads is the cream of all Vedic knowledge. Bhagavad Gita is the cream of the Upanishads, and the Upanishads is the cream of all Vedic knowledge. Number one. Number one. If you are a Sanatan Dharmi, then you have to live within the confines of the Bhagavad Gita. You have to live within the confines of the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is not a religious scripture. Bhagavad Gita has nothing to do with religion. Bhagavad Gita belongs to all living entities, especially spoken for those that are residing in human form. Are you understanding? Sita, you understand? You don't understand 100%. Sita was about to get a degree in this fake Bhagavad Gita institution. How many months you had, Sita?
2.
Sita had 2 months left to get a degree in a fake Bhagavad Gita institution when she met me, and I stopped her. How many years ago was that, Sita? 2.5 years ago. I stopped her. I said the degree you're going to get is a fake degree. Is a fake degree. So I am not going to have time in my lifetime, this lifetime, to show you all the contradictions by all the so-called gurus. So-called gurus. No guru has a right to change the meaning of a Bhagavad Gita to suit his philosophy. To suit his philosophy. Bhagavad Gita is not a philosophy. It is a summary of the Upanishads. Bhagavad Gita is not a philosophy. There's a difference between the word philosophy and the word summary. All of you understand? So the Bhagavad Gita is the summary of the Upanishads. And it's also called Gita-Upanishad. It's also called Gita-Upanishad. So the Upanishads contain the absolute science. Upanishads contain absolute science. You cannot take absolute science and convert it into a philosophy. Can science be converted into philosophy? Science is absolute. Philosophy is... What is the definition of philosophy, Sita? Pick up your phone. Don't think you won't know. You getting it?
Yes.
What's it?
The study of the fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, and existence, especially when considered as an academic discipline.
Okay. So an academic discipline and absolute science, vast difference. Vast difference. You understand? This Bhagavad Gita is spoken by whom? By the Lord Himself. Why you think it is spoken by the Lord Himself? Why didn't He send Sita down to tell us what the Bhagavad Gita is? Okay? So let's affirm what I'm saying. Let us affirm it through the Bhagavad Gita itself. Let the Bhagavad Gita explain itself. Chapter 4, verse 1. I taught this imperishable yoga to Vivasvan, semicolon. Vivasvan taught it to Manu, semicolon. Manu declared it to Ikshvaku. Full stop. Verse 2. Thus handed down in succession, comma, the royal sages knew this, full stop. But with long lapse of time, O Arjuna, that yoga was lost to the world. Verse 3. It is the same ancient yoga which is now taught to you by me, comma, as you are my devotee and friend, full stop. For this is a supreme mystery. So what you learning? What are you learning? Can any Tom, Dick and Harry release the Bhagavad Gita to you? What the Lord is saying. He said, number one, that this Bhagavad Gita which he was releasing to Arjuna at the battle of Kurukshetra is the same Bhagavad Gita that he released 120 million years ago to Visvasan. Vivasvan. Vivasvan. Alright? Vishwadhar can get the spelling right. This same Bhagavad Gita was lost. And now the same Lord Sri Krishna is releasing this Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna because Arjuna is his, he used the word devotee and then friend. So before you get the Bhagavad Gita, you have to become a devotee of the Supreme Lord. Without being the devotee of the Supreme Lord, the Bhagavad Gita is not going to make any sense to you. The Bhagavad Gita won't make any sense to you. And he shows it by example. He shows it by example. Let me just continue, then I'll come back to the topic. Yesterday when I was discussing Vasudeva, Sri Vasudeva arrived. And today when I'm discussing Visvasan, the Nirvasan arrives. Verse 6, chapter 4. Though I am birthless and of immutable nature, comma, though I am the Lord of all beings, comma, yet by employing my own nature, I am born out of my own free will. Number 7, verse 7, Whenever there is a decline of Dharma, O Arjuna, and uprising of adharma, then I incarnate myself. What the Lord is saying? Firstly, he is born of his own free will. Secondly, he takes his own birth when irreligious principles are overriding religious principles. He takes his own birth so that he can come timelessly himself to create a divine society. By himself, verse 8, for the protection of the good and also for the destruction of the wicked, for the establishment of Dharma, am I born from age to age. So the Lord takes his birth to annihilate the demons, protect the divine, and establish Dharma. Establish Dharma. So how has he established Dharma in this birth 5,000 years ago? By speaking the Bhagavad Gita, which was, when we say lost, we don't mean the content of the Bhagavad Gita is lost. Your mind has no capacity to assimilate the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is always there. When you stop your association with the Bhagavad Gita, then it seems to be lost. It seems to be lost. And these are Vedic injunctions. This is not you coming all the way from wherever you are coming and seated here today. This is the absolute truth. And if you follow this ashram, you follow the teachings of this Guru, then this truth have to be experienced by you. Have to be experienced by you. And listen to this number 9 carefully. He who thus knows in truth my divine birth and action does not get rebirth after leaving the body, he will come to me, O Arjuna. So look at how simple this is. How simple this is. That if you know verse 8, then verse 9 liberates you. And what you have to know in verse 8? What you have to know in verse 8? That the Lord takes his birth to annihilate the demons and protect the divine, and to re-establish righteousness. Dharma is righteousness by delivering relevant scriptures, in this time the Bhagavad Gita. How simple it is. If you know this truth of verse 8, you'll never ever take a human body again, or any other body. Because if you have this in your head, what does it do to your consciousness? You become God conscious. Don't you become God conscious if you know that the Lord takes His birth to annihilate the demons and protect the divine and re-establish righteousness through scriptures? Wouldn't you become God conscious? And when you become God conscious, what happens to your thirst for God? And as this thirst grows, what happens? You quench it with the absolute truth. All of you following me so far? If we have Hemita, a dosage of a certain medication prescribed by a doctor will destroy a certain ailment. If you tamper with the dosage, what will be the result of the patient taking that dosage? Or it may just work little bit, but it won't give you the absolute result that the dosage was prescribed. Are you understanding, Dave Bhai? Yes, this is why I made you a vegetarian quickly, so this information can settle in the mind fast. Dave, you're sitting next to Sri Satish. You're sitting next to Sri Satish, and we're calling him Sri Satish until he becomes a... You like that, Dave? Yes. You can explain to him later what is missing. Dave, you can explain to him later what is missing. Alright? So I said, I'm only going to call one person Shri until he becomes a vegetarian, then I'll call the next person Shri. Alright? Coming back, I had a WhatsApp message today from a number that I do not know, and a face. There was no face on the profile. And there was somebody that asked me if I could answer a question on Ram. Lord Ram, and I think you all know me and technology and typing, so I typed there, please phone me. Alright. Finally, he phoned me, and I think I had the most beautiful discussion and feeling as a guru after a very, very long time. It was a 25-year-old boy. His name is Ravi. He's from Newlands. And he said, Pandit, I'm confused. I love Lord Ram so much, but I don't know the difference between Lord Ram, Lord Krishna, Lord Narayan, Lord Vishnu. And he said, Panditji, don't get angry. And he whispered, but somebody at work said, Lord Shiva is the Supreme Being. When I was 25, I was a full-blown atheist. When I was 25, I was a full-blown atheist. Look at this boy. I didn't even ask him who gave him my details, because I was so gratified that a young child, he must have found me through technology or somebody must have given my details to him. But he is using, 25 is a very young age for a boy to be asking these questions. He is using technology, he was brave enough, he thinks I'm a Pandit, but I answer these questions. And he'll inform me from tomorrow when he's going to start attending Satsang. I told him I have all your answers and some more. In my time when I was looking for these answers, Sri Satish, there was only questions. There was only questions when I was looking for answers. Today, through technology and the fact that the Sri Narayan Dham exists, there will never be an end to absolute answers. There will never be an end to absolute answers. Because I answer your questions absolutely in your face, Hemita, in your face, whether you like it or not. Hemita, whether you like it or not, I answer all questions in its absolute. I do not answer your questions to appease you. This is not politics. There is no appeasement answers. So I had people attended or made an appointment with me 2 weeks ago, and they call themselves Lord Narayan devotees. Lord Narayan devotees. They are involved in promoting Lord Narayan and singing his bhajans. And I had a 2-hour discussion, and then I was asked a question that whilst I'm promoting Lord Narayan, when a child is born in my family, I also sacrifice. Who does my sacrifice go to? And I said, the demons. I said, the demons. Where the sacrifice goes to? The demons. I have not seen him back here, Jessica, and I don't think he'll come back. But you think I was right to give him that answer?
Yes, Guru.
Do you understand? So, we will answer any question and we will give it to you as it exists. As it exists. You might get upset to the Guru. You might never come back to this Satsang. And whilst you're in this Satsang, you might have befriended some people, you got a group. When I whack you, you take your group and go, you're doing me a big favor. You helping the Guru to clean the ashram. You understand? You're helping the Guru to clean the ashram. The Sri Narayan Dham, as long as I exist, will continue giving only the absolute truth. When my Guruji's son messed up in India, I attacked him. What I did? I attacked him. Premila, what I did? I attacked him. And I even went right to his ashram. Where I went? right to his ashram in his own country, and I attacked him. So don't you think if I can attack my own Guru's son when he transgresses, then I can attack anyone in the world, Sri Satish?
Yes, sir.
Anyone in the world. And when I attacked him on social media. And I went there physically and I attacked him. I think he's still feeling the effects of the attack. Nirvasan, what do you think?
Yes, it's correct.
Yes. I took Vasan. I took Vasan to attack him. Scare tactics. Alright? So we're going to continue in this direction. So I want to come back quickly. The Bhagavad Gita of Veda Vyas. So actually the Bhagavad Gita is a chapter in the Mahabharata. The Bhagavad Gita is a chapter in the Mahabharata. At the onset of Kali Yuga. At the onset of Kali Yuga, as soon as Lord Sri Krishna left the planet Earth, in that form, Kali Yuga set in. And when Kali Yuga set in, the mind of man became ignorant. And when the mind of man became ignorant and blank and dark, the Sri Sampradaya continued to exist as a river of spiritual potency, but now it went underground. You all heard of rivers that continues to flow, but you might see that the bed is dry. So the Sri Sampradaya in this dark time continued its flow underground through the 12 Alvars and Purva Acharyas. Buddhism emerged and scripture was lost. Buddhism emerged and scripture was lost. Adi Shankar Acharya in the year 800 was the first guru to take this chapter from the Mahabharata separately and call it the Bhagavad Gita. He took this chapter from the Mahabharata and separately called it the Bhagavad Gita, and he wrote a commentary on it. And in his introduction, he pays obeisances to... Okay, let me read it. Hemita, can I have my phone back? Let me do this scripturally. Okay, this is the introduction of Adi Shankar Acharya. And I'm quoting, when, owing to the ascendancy of lust in its votaries, religion was overpowered by irreligion caused by the vanishing faculty of discrimination, comma, and irreligion was advancing, comma, it was then that the original creator, Vishnu, comma, known as Narayana, comma, wishing to maintain order in the universe, comma, incarnated himself as Krishna, begotten in Devaki by Vasudeva, for the preservation of the earthly Brahman. So this is Adi Shankar Acharya, and he is the propounder of the Advaita philosophy, wherein he states that God has no form and God is an energy. But look, in his introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, which I read to you, he confirms that Lord Sriman Narayan is the supreme reality. Does he not confirm it? And this was the very first Bhagavad Gita commentary, 800 AD, after Lord Sri Krishna left. You understand? Is it consistent with my discourse yesterday? Because after Adi Shankar Acharya, his Advaita commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, Ramanuj Acharya subsequently wrote his 18 verses. And Lord Sri Ramanuj, in the year 1000 plus something, he wrote his Bhagavad Gita Bhasya. And he also stated the same thing that I read in his introduction, that Lord Sriman Narayan incarnated as Lord Sri Krishna. Then I also read verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein Swami Prabhupada himself, and there's thousands of verses where Swami Prabhupada himself states that Lord Sriman Narayan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And there's another thousands of verses where he contradicts this in the same Srimad Bhagavatam. You understand? So I'm clarifying all contradictions, that of Adi Shankar Acharya and that of Swami Prabhupada. And I'm stating that the only Bhagavad Gita does not have a philosophical commentary is that by Lord Sri Ramanuj. Lord Sri Ramanuj. There is no philosophy when Lord Sri Ramanuj wrote or in any of his writings. All he did was presented Veda Vyasa's writings as it was written by Veda Vyas, who is the authorized compiler in Sanatan Dharma of every scripture except the Ramayana. Are you understanding? If you read the Bhagavad Gita summarized by Lord Sri Ramanuj, you will find that he explained the Sanskrit spoken by Lord Sri Krishna in a simpler way in the Gita Bhasya. That's all he did. And he states that he has followed the previous acharyas, and all previous acharyas, well, that summaries are not available today. So we only have, starting from Adi Shankar Acharya, commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita to date, including Lord Sri Ramanuj. So what Lord Sri Ramanuj did, he said, one, plus 1 is equal to 2, and he broke it down and showed you how 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So, in its absolute sense, if 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, and if that is broken down and shown to you, does it remove its absoluteness? Because it must always maintain 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Do you understand? So tomorrow we're going to continue with this analysis, because it is important that somebody in some part of the world must bring this truth out. Jessica, don't you think?
Yes, sir.
That somebody in the world must bring this truth out, that having a Bhagavad Gita in your house, having the Bhagavad Gita in your possession, if it is not the original and the authentic, then it's like that medication that the doctor ordered for you. If you took some whiskey and brandy and added it in that medication, Premila, what will happen to your mundi? Premila, what will happen to your mundi? Alright? So we at the Sri Narayan Dham in this Gita week, if there's any question, we invite in the world, wherever this discourse is going to land. What I'm saying is sensitive because millions of followers have been reading a Bhagavad Gita that is not authentic. But this is Kali Yuga. This is Kali Yuga. There's even a guru who has become very, very famous and is denying God, and he has taken the position of God. He has taken the position of God. There's a guru, very famous, very, very famous, appeasing preachings. He has denied God and he has put himself up to the title of God himself. So we need to kick and boot all these fools out of the Guru system. Out of the Guru system. Imagine Dave following that Guru. Dave, can you imagine? Alright? Jai Sri Narayan.